This is 7 National News, and in our top story. 2015 should be the year of transition, and the international community must act now to introduce sustainable agricultural practices to overcome challenges arising from climate change. That's according to the keynote speakers during the opening ceremony of the ongoing Global Forum for Innovations in Agriculture. More than 250 speakers from more than 100 countries have gathered in Abu Dhabi for the second edition of GFIA, where discussions are being held surrounding the challenges of sustainable food production and water scarcity throughout the three-day forum. His Excellency Dr. Rashid Ahmed bin Fahad, the UAE Minister of Environment and Water, delivered the opening speech where he called on the international community to seek ways for strengthening institutional frameworks to develop smart solutions that can increase agricultural production despite the challenges of limited resources. Among the main speakers also included King George Rakidi IV of Toro, Uganda, who stated that Africa will play a significant role in global food production in the near future due to its ripe soil. However, 65% of the continent's arable land is too damaged due to deforestation. Climate-smart agriculture was identified as a key move towards overcoming challenges of food security, as the world's population is expected to reach 9 billion by the year 2030. With 1/8 of the world's population still malnourished, His Royal Highness Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales, and John Kerry, the US Secretary of State, in their video remarks stated that climate change and water scarcity currently remain the most challenging issues, and we must change the way we produce food to meet the expected rise in demand.
Although I have no doubt that technological innovation may be able to help us to address at least some of these problems, it does seem to me that the way we introduce such technologies needs to be underpinned by a properly integrated and holistic perspective. For example, we need to look much more carefully at the underlying natural systems that enable agriculture to function, including the forests and wetlands that play such vital roles in the water cycle. We need this more integrated thinking because otherwise, I fear, we will go on overlooking the interconnections between food, energy, water, and physical security, with all the accumulating dangers that entails.
We really need you to take action at home and seek out new partners. It's exactly what we're doing here in the United States. We need you to create new drought-resistant seeds, develop irrigation techniques that maximize our limited water resources, train local farmers in sustainable and resilient practices, and rehabilitate degraded land in order to spare forests. We need you to tell your leaders that an ambitious, durable, and inclusive global agreement on climate change is essential to our shared future. And we have a chance to get that agreement in Paris this December.
On the sidelines of the forum is the GFIA exhibition that is showcasing more than 300 next-generation agricultural technology solutions, which are expected to shape the future of farming around the world. Commenting on the climate-smart solutions, Dr. Ren Wang from the Food and Agricultural Organization of the UN stated that the approach can contribute towards achieving sustainable development goals. It was further added that countries should develop policy conditions that increases agricultural productivity, builds resilience to climate change, and reduces greenhouse emission.
Immediately, I think, is for everyone, for the governments, farmers associations, farmers themselves, private sector especially, to act together to, let's say, recognize or align ourselves to these goals of reducing greenhouse gas emissions when possible, and as I mentioned, increasing productivity in a sustainable way and enhancing adaptation through adapting to these practices. I also mentioned some of the examples today, as I mentioned, such as urea deep placement, and the land restoration in northern China, and so on and so forth. Yeah, those are examples. We have actually FAO has recently produced a book on success stories to illustrate how the goal of the 3 pillars can be achieved, and climate smart agriculture.
Well, 43% of working women in the Middle East and North Africa region believe that they're paid less than their male counterparts. The general sentiment is that workplace equality across the region has grown to be on par with working environments in the Western world. The findings were released in a survey conducted by Baith.com, which revealed that gender bias in the MENA workplace is perceived to be heading towards better equality, with 51% of respondents supporting the fact that they are being treated equally at work. In today's workplace, 72% of women across the MENA region work in mixed-gender environments, compared to 15% who work in offices where men and women are segregated, with 13% in offices with only female employees. While the trend across the region is for the majority of women to be employed in a mixed workplace, the split in KSA is relatively even, with a higher percentage working in segregated on female-only offices. The survey further revealed that 7 in 10 women are comfortable with working in a mixed environment, with 4 in 10 claiming to be extremely comfortable. The majority of working women in the MENA region, representing 77%, stated that they currently work for a male manager, though 66% stated that they have no preference of working for a man or a woman. Customs authorities in Dubai have foiled an attempt to smuggle 3 million tramadol pills with an approximate street value of 60 million dirhams at Dubai Cargo Village Customs Centre. The seized tramadol consignment, which came from an Asian country by air, has been described as one of the biggest seizures of its kind made by Dubai Customs in recent times. Director of Dubai Customs Ahmad Mahbub Musabbeh was quoted in Emirates news agency WAM as saying that the government department 2 years ago launched a huge awareness campaign about the side effects of tramadol jointly with Dubai Health Authority and DMI. The drive had a positive impact on the public, particularly youngsters, as they are the most targeted by drug dealers. Meanwhile, authorities have also revealed that Jabal Ali Customs officers had earlier managed to confiscate a shipment of tramadol imported under the same company. A guidebook for Filipino expatriates will soon be released to help them better prepare for the future and avoid getting on the wrong side of the law due to lack of awareness. The Philippine Embassy, in cooperation with Gulf Law, plans to hand out the 150-page guidebook for free to Filipino expatriates in the UAE. The book will provide practical answers to common questions and detail step-by-step processes that have to be followed to meet various requirements, whether they be for overseas employment, financial literacy, obtaining proper documents, or in case people get into trouble, among others. The Philippine ambassador to the UAE, Grace Princessa, was quoted as saying that she wants the book to be part of a legacy to the Filipinos in the UAE before she leaves her post in October this year. The co-author of the book at Gulf Law explained that many of the questions that were answered in the book were gathered from their free legal aid sessions and seminars held in the Philippine Embassy and Consulate General throughout the year 2014 that saw the attendance of over 4,000 Filipinos. Maraya Art Centre has announced the launch of 1971, a new and innovative design gallery, the first of its kind in Sharjah, dedicated to exhibiting, displaying and stimulating discussion around all forms of contemporary design. Revealing the details at a press conference held today at Flag Island in Sharjah, the representatives of the non-profit Art Centre stated that 1971 will promote discussion around topics ranging from graphics, furniture, interiors, as well as interactive design and new technologies. Maraya Art Centre officials said that the goal of 1971 is to be a regional and international design hub in the UAE, involving local designers, architects, schools and universities. Although 1971 has officially opened its doors to art enthusiasts, its first exhibition, titled Zero, is set to be inaugurated on the 11th of March. The Zero exhibition will feature the artwork of 13 designers and architects who will showcase their projects based on recycled or sustainable materials. The Maraya Art Centre intends to help local artists and designers by providing them a fee and a production budget, in addition to supporting their artwork.
Basically, we want to focus on the UAE base and the regional designers. We want to focus on their creativity because we realize that there is a lot of there is a lot of creativity, there is a lot of innovation here happening in this part of the world, and especially with the design days, Dubai Design Days happening in Dubai, and the universities, the American University of Sharjah, they have an interesting, very good and powerful college of College of Design and Architecture. And then there is a Zion University. So there are a lot of designers who are becoming very more established. And the design scene is growing like really exponentially every day. So we think that providing like having a space with like that provide like full support and like to be a platform and a hub for these designers, it's very important.
I really hope that this exhibition inspires designers, young designers. A lot of people think that design and sustainability are so separate and so different from each other, and in fact they're not. And an exhibition like this highlights that you can really incorporate sustainability into design. This is the future, and I really think that all over the world sustainability is becoming more and more embedded within design, and so I really want to see young students in universities embracing the marriage between sustainability and design, and really taking it to another level.
And finally, in the bulletin, the first attempt to circumnavigate the Earth in an exclusively solar-powered plane has successfully taken off from Abu Dhabi Al Bathin Executive Airport this morning. Solar Impulse 2 took off at 7:15 a.m, headed for Muscat as part of its first leg of its 5-month journey across the world before it heads back to Abu Dhabi in late July. The first leg of the journey is expected to take approximately 10 hours, with the aircraft piloted by Andre Borschberg, one of the founders of the Solar Impulse 2. Bertrand Piccard, the co-founder behind the project, will then pilot the aircraft for its second journey, with both pilots alternating for the 12 flights. Dignitaries and media gathered together on the tarmac of Al Bathin Executive Airport to watch the takeoff of the single-seat aircraft, which will be fully powered by solar energy for the entirety of its trip and will not consume a single drop of fuel. Solar Impulse 2 is expected to face multiple challenges to complete the flight, with some legs, such as the crossing of the Pacific towards the United States, to take as long as 5 days straight, or a total of 120 hours of flying time. Additionally, supporters of Solar Impulse 2 will be able to follow the live progress of each of the flights via the Solar Impulse website and live streaming video through its YouTube channel. The project is part of the Future is Clean movement to gather worldwide support for the use of clean energy.